I'm here to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Andrew Stern. Andrew works on the Leadership, Learning, and Diversity team at Bloomberg LP. He is responsible for the company's onboarding programs globally and teams with others to deliver a comprehensive suite of people-focused offerings to Bloomberg business areas. Prior to joining Bloomberg, Andrew worked as a human capital consultant for Deloitte, where he advised Fortune 100 HR organizations on talent strategy, learning and development, and leadership programs. A 2010 Wharton graduate, Andrew concentrated in organizational effectiveness. He served as a Management 240 TA, Management 100 TA, and as co-chairman of the Wharton Alumni Relations Council. So we are very excited to have him here with us today. So everyone, please welcome Andrew Stern.
Cool. Awesome. So thank you for that introduction. That's terrific. It is a true pleasure to be with all of you today. I got an email to come and speak at this event a couple weeks ago from Tim and Lee and Manmeet and was blown away by the opportunity. I'm assuming at this point in the afternoon, you've all had the opportunity to meet each other a little bit. I saw some speed dating going on. A little bit, yeah? Okay, yeah, okay. Did anybody realize how much potential is in this room? Anybody feel that yet? Or did you just think about going out with the person for a drink or something, with the speed dating? Huh? Maybe both. You guys are a pretty special group that's in the room right now, right? You've got leaders from all these different organizations all across Wharton. And you all bring so much energy in different networks, in different tools and strategies. You should all share. You should all talk to each other. You should all connect. So today's presentation, we're going to divide it up into 4 kind of components, all right? And I'll go through the agenda in straight up Management 100 style for all of you in a little bit. Okay. So quick note. Yeah. Anything you want to elaborate on that? Yeah. So I show this picture to you to set the tone for today and acknowledge that this is supposed to be fun, right? You're all here. We're not supposed to be lectured. There's no midterm, no final. I think, right? No final on this? Right, okay. So no final exam. I want all of you to understand that in your interactions with each other, in your interactions with club members, in your interactions with companies, you have 30 seconds to make that first impression. I show this picture to you purposefully. I want you to know that today's going to be fun, right? I'm going to show you a random picture from when I was 7 years old playing hockey in Detroit, Michigan. Look, my gloves are as big as my head in this picture, right? It's a little wacky, right? You don't usually start an alumnus presentation with a picture of you playing ice hockey. It's a little different, right? I want you to start thinking about how you show up. And we're going to come back to that idea at the end of today's presentation, right? How do you show up in interactions with each other, in interactions with your club members, other leaders, firms that you want to sponsor your organization? How do you show up? All right? So we've got 45 minutes together. I told you, straight up Management 100 style. And by the way, I got the lowest grade possible on the Management 100 status report. I got a 12 out of 20, and I was a TA. Just point of information, all right? A little fun fact. 45 minutes. First thing we're going to talk about as a group today are your members, okay? And this is the topic that's closest to my heart. You heard my little introduction. My focus, what I studied at this school, what I'm doing in the world today, is all about people and fueling people's performance so that they can fuel their company's performance, right? So we're going to start with today's presentation talking about your members, okay? And that's the topic that's really close to my heart. Second thing we're going to talk about, a little picture from clubbing night. And by the way, the peers of yours that didn't come today, they won't be at clubbing night, so you guys were smart to be here, okay? We want to talk to you about your events, okay? Word on the street is you guys sometimes have panels, you sometimes bring alumni back, you sometimes get corporate sponsorships, right? Sound familiar? Yeah? A little bit of that? We want to talk about how you're going to execute exceptional events today. How are you in this academic year, 2013, okay? How are you going to step the game up a little bit? Third thing we're going to go through this thing called the Game of Thrones, okay? You've all got a pad of stickies on your table, and we're going to do a little bit of a twist on the Game of Thrones. So more to come on that, but that'll be part 3 of our time together. And the fourth part, just to kind of start to get you to think bigger than even your club organizations, talk about graduation. What happens beyond the halls of Wharton? What are some lessons that I've kind of taken away as a young working person who's just a couple years older than many of you, okay? So here's what we're going to do over those first 45 minutes together. That picture in the upper left, by the way, that was me in Management 100. Okay, first topic, your members' contributions, okay? Just throw out numbers. How many members do your groups have? How big are your groups? Are they 20? Are they 200? How big are they? 1,000. Okay, you win the award probably for the biggest one. What are some of the other group sizes? 600. 600. Wow, really impressive. 40. Awesome. Good. Any others? 25. Okay, good. I've worked as part of organizations that have been 12 people and gone all the way up to 91,000 when we talk about the Alumni Relations Council and the alumni network that we're interacting with, right? Your members are your greatest asset, whether there are 10, whether there are 20, whether there are 200 or 1,000, right? Your members, okay, comprise your organization. They make it tick. It's not just about you, it's about them too, all right? So how do we get those members to give them their entire self? How do we get them to contribute to your organization so that you as a team, as a leadership team, you as your organization at that level, succeed in your objectives, all right? A couple strategies that I want all of you to be introduced to. The first, talk about puzzle pieces, all right? When you're getting together as a leadership team, okay, and you're brainstorming about how you can engage your leaders, come back to this image of a puzzle. You've got one piece that's your members, okay, and their interests and their passions and the things that drive them, what they're curious about, whether they're into social media, whether they're into marketing, whether they're into finance, whether they love playing in Excel, whatever makes them tick. You've got your members over here. The other puzzle piece is what you as a leadership team want to accomplish this year. So you've got this opportunity to create congruence between these two ideas, right? To make those puzzle pieces fit. So one thing I would encourage you to do as you're saying, how do I get my members engaged? Link their passions with your purpose. Okay? Think about that. Link their passions with your purpose. And when there is congruence between those two ideas, you as a leadership team will win because your events will get achieved, your goals will be fulfilled, and your members will be engaged and be driven to do even more. Because, oh, by the way, they're doing what they want. They're doing what they care about. They're doing what they dreamt of doing. So if you make that gap, and you erase that gap, rather, you make the link, you as a leadership team within your organization will do very well. All right? First point. Second point, this isn't just a generic cartoon I pull off the internet. If you Google a gentleman by the name of Frederick Hertzberg, has anybody ever heard of that? Taken an organizational behavior class by chance? That's the time I was introduced to Frederick Hertzberg, Management 238 with Monica Stallings, okay? Taught in Steiny D, which, by the way, I heard doesn't look as nice as the new Steiny D. You got some like new rooms, like 350 and 351, the accounting exam rooms. Those are much nicer now. Yeah. Anybody see my pencil scratches in the desk? Like, oh man, they were painful exams for me. Frederick Hertzberg, though, here's his story. Frederick Hertzberg talks about this theory around motivation, how you get people to be motivated by their work, okay? And his thesis is very simple. You want people to bring their best to work, you give them an end, and you let them determine the mean, okay? So what I mean by that is, if you said to somebody, you know, by the way, the person that you're saying this to, you already had a conversation with them about what makes them tick, what they're interested in, what they want to contribute. If you say to them, gosh, you know, given that you're so interested in social media, do you want to build out a Facebook group for us? Do you want to use the full potential of Facebook to drive attendance at our events? Do you want to have that end and just sort of figure it out on your own and come back to me in 2 weeks and tell me how you're doing? You want to do that? People are so much more motivated if you give them the end and you let them determine the means. All right? So that's the second point today. When you're interacting with your members and you want to drive them to do something, give them the end. Let them fill in the middle. All right? Next point. Anybody ever heard of Foursquare? Yeah? Maybe you use Foursquare, checking in at Smokes, you know, checking in at the Radian, whatever. Okay? Occasionally. So Foursquare, this is a picture of their offices. All right? And I show this picture to you to say, hey, pretty cool spot to work, right? It's pretty impressive. A lot of glass, pretty trendy. You got records on the wall. It's neat. But I want to hone in on one particular piece, that glass. Okay? The reason the glass is important in this context, and by the way, Bloomberg's offices are very similar. They're just much tighter on their pictures. Foursquare's offices with all their glass mean to communicate transparency. Okay? Everybody can see into every one of those conference rooms. CEO's office, right down there, you can look right in. Oh, he or she is right at their desk. Or maybe they're not. Okay? The office, okay? When you've got that transparency, people are empowered. Okay? Remember this notion of information empowering people. Okay? You think about it today in your own lives, how information empowers you, knowing where your friends are, knowing when exams are based on the syllabus, you know what you need to do, you're empowered to take action based on that. Same idea. if you as a leadership team do a good job communicating with your members and offer them transparency into how you operate, why decisions were made, you will do well. All right, so think about how this notion of transparency can be applied to your teams. How can you be transparent in the way that you communicate with your members? How can you be transparent in the way that you talk to them, right? Or even your corporate sponsors. Think about the applications of this notion of transparency. Okay? Fourth idea. This is a gentleman by the name of Josh Trangle, who, by the way, is a Penn alum. Come on in. We've got Josh Trangle on the screen right now. Josh is a colleague of mine at Bloomberg. He works in Bloomberg Business Week. Anybody get Business Week or read it by chance? That little magazine? Yeah? Pretty edgy, right? Pretty funky. It's interesting. They do some really creative work, all right? And that work, a lot of that creative content comes right from that man's brain, okay? And if you're looking at him, you're saying, oh my God, this guy looks pretty intense. He's standing up against the glass. I told you there's glass offices in Bloomberg, but he's got all these sticky notes, right? And those sticky notes are an artifact of how Josh Trangle innovates, okay? If you come up closer to the screen, you can Google the image yourself. They're all different ideas. What could we be doing a cool story about? Could we do a story about the black market for human organs? It's wild, right? It's a concept. But we could do that. It's on a sticky note. It's an idea. So this idea that I want to leave all of you with today, when you're thinking about your members, how do you offer your members the opportunity to fuel innovation within your organization? Okay? Innovation doesn't just come from the top, right? You guys have probably read tons of case studies at this point in your undergraduate experiences where you've seen ideas bubble up from the bottom or at all different levels in the organization. Maybe they came from a consumer who proposed an idea to someone in the company. How do you as a leadership team offer your members the opportunity to innovate, right? Do you, for example, have a generic or an anonymous email account where every single person in the organization knows the username and the password and can submit ideas to this? Do you have a discussion board on Web Cafe? Do you have some kind of a document that you circulate internally every single week? Do you maybe have a time every single week when you as a leadership team get together where individual members can come and pitch brand new ideas, and then afterwards you offer them the transparency to know why it was pursued or it wasn't pursued? How do you allow individual members to innovate? And we're going to come back to the sticky notes idea during our Game of Thrones, all right? So, we've come through a lot of ideas. We just went through 4 real fast. I hope you kind of held on to those, right, as we were going through them. How do you get your members to really get engaged, to contribute their fullest potential to your organizations, all right? Now, second topic that we want to go through today, exceptional events, right? What are some of the events that you guys have planned? Just go ahead and throw out some names.
Conference and case competition.
Case competitions, great. What are some others?
Career fair.
Career fair, good. What are some others?
Trip to Chicago.
Sorry, say that again?
Chicago to see Sanzel.
Awesome, awesome. You know, you should take me on your next one. I can be wheeled in luggage and go places. I would love to have gone on that trip. That's awesome. What did you say? Spring break?
Great trip.
See, that sounds like fun. Spring break. What'd you guys do?
We go to countries in the Middle East. And,
Wow, neat. It's very special. What's your idea?
We're partnering with the design school to bring Gary to campus.
Good, good. We're going to talk about that word partnering in this section, so good little setup for that. When we're talking about exceptional events, I want you to even broaden your mind a little bit to not just the events, but the ways that you interact with your members, right? I'm sure a lot of you maybe have a newsletter, right? Any of your organizations have newsletters that you send out to your membership? Yeah? A couple of you? Okay. It's not just events. I know it's on the title, but everything that you do as a company, your actions, okay, your activities that you manage on a weekly basis as part of your organization. So how do we get those events to be exceptional? Anyone know who this is? No? No? Steve Jobs, right? I'm glad we are at the #1 undergraduate business school in the world, and a couple people know who Steve Jobs is. That's good. Okay? One of the things that, if you read Steve Jobs' biography, I think a lot of people are most blown away by is the way that he pushed his developers to make products that people didn't even know they needed yet. Right? You didn't know that you needed an iPad to go to college. You didn't know that, right? I must have this. I have to have a mobile device that will allow me to take notes. And you didn't know that you needed that, right? You didn't know that you needed to have your music on you at every single minute of the day. God forbid you go out with Lady Gaga, forgetting her every morning, right? You need her every second of the day, right? You didn't know. Steve Jobs told you you needed it, right? You need to think about when you're executing exceptional events, okay, when you're interacting with partners, either in the school, right, in the University of Pennsylvania, or external to the university, right? You're interacting with PwC or Kohl's or Target, whoever it may be, okay? Think about how those organizations, internal and external, what they could use that you aren't giving them right now, but they would really love to have. What would they love to have? If I'm a consulting firm, I would really love a resume book. I would love to know who in your organization would love to be a part of my organization. Think about it. You know who you're interacting with. You know who the other organizations are. You know what the corporate sponsors are craving. Give it to them. And don't make them ask. And maybe go one step further and think about what it is that they aren't getting right now that you could offer them, and then cultivate this really healthy relationship with them because you're offering something that nobody else ever has before. So be a Steve Jobs when you're talking about these exceptional events. Give the internal and external organizations that you're partnering with something that they didn't even know they needed. All right? Next idea. Anyone know who this is? That was much more resounding. I'm so happy. Anybody have Dr. G from Management 100? Yeah? A couple of you? Awesome. I had Dr. G from Management 100 as well. Outstanding professor, right? Outstanding. Dr. G, one of the things that I remember most from that class was the rubber band analogy. Do you guys remember that? She brings in a rubber band and stretches it to illustrate this concept of creative tension. I think it was Sengay or somebody. This concept of creative tension. That's not what we're talking about today, though. I want to talk to you about another thing she said that stuck with me, which is know your audience. Okay? Know your audience. When I asked you to broaden your perspective and think bigger than just an actual event, an activity fair or spring break trip or some kind of a career fair that you're planning, and then think about other activities that you do, it's coming back to this idea of knowing your audience. Does your audience really need a newsletter? Does your audience really need a Facebook thing to track every single day and know that this is what's happening in the Black Wharton Undergraduate Association? Do they need to know that? Instead, do they need a Twitter account, right? What does your audience need? How do they want to communicate with you? What are they craving, right? Did you ever ask your members what they actually want out of your club? Or have you just kind of gone through the mill and said, you know what, oh, we always did that thing in the spring, we're going to do it again, maybe we'll invite a new sponsor. Do people actually want it? Know your audience. At the end of the day, it's not just about your vision and what you want to achieve. It's also about the people that are curious about your organization's objective. What does your audience want? Right? You're all here today at the Undergraduate Leadership Forum to connect with each other, right? To learn about new ways that you can do better next year. What does your audience want? All right, so think about that idea. Next, I want to bring you back. This is an event that I helped organize. This must have been my junior year in 2009. It's part of the Undergraduate Consulting Club. This was an event for Deloitte, their human capital consulting practice that, as you said, I started out with, terrific consulting firm. I want you to focus at the bottom, though. Okay? The thing to highlight here is that there are 4 clubs on this invite. It's not 1, it's not 2, there are 4. Right? And you may say to yourself, I don't really understand how this fits, right? Why would they all be involved, right? Isn't it better if I just plan an event where it's just me, right? It's just the Undergraduate Consulting Club. Doesn't that strengthen our brand presence and really make our presence known and fortify our presence in an undergraduate's mind as the place for consulting? Wouldn't that be the thing that you would want to do? What you actually want to do is broaden your reach, right? You want more people to go to these kinds of things. You want more people to be engaged. And one of the ways that you can drive additional attendance, that you can fuel success in your events, is to partner, as you said, with other organizations, both at Wharton and external to Wharton. All right? The more teaming that happens, the more the collaboration that happens, the more everybody wins. We're not in competition to see who does 2 events, who does 3, how many is that relative to what we did last year. Team up, plan it together, get multiple corporate sponsors to come, make it bigger than you ever envisioned it being. And oh, by the way, come back to your last point and know whether that's something your audience actually wants. Do your members actually want to go to an event as WISA members, for example, or as BWUA members to this event? And the answer at that point was absolutely yes, they do. Everybody wants to learn about consulting in here, right? Everybody wants to better understand what these companies are about. So why not bring multiple membership pools to the same event? Okay? Now, I know you're getting thirsty. It's hot out there, right? We're going to talk about Gatorade for a second. Anybody familiar with this 1, 2, 3 approach from Gatorade? Anybody? Yeah? You went like this. You want to expound on that?
Yeah, it's basically like a new branding thing that Gatorade's doing. They have like an entire line of drinks for different processes of your workout or exercise.
Exactly true. And I was just hanging out with Justin Riley, who graduated with me in 2010, played basketball at Penn. This is the exact kind of stuff they're thinking about, right? How do I prepare? How do I deliver? And how do I prep for the next one, right? And I want you to focus on number 3. I want you to focus on the third type of Gatorade, the after, the recovery, as they call it, right? And the reason I want you to focus on it, I'm going to pose a simple question to you. After an event, what does your debrief process look like, right? Do you all come together as a leadership team, as a membership pool? How do you think about the next event based on what just happened, right? How do you think about the future at the end of something, right? Yes, absolutely. You just finished your big career fair. You should go out and celebrate. You should acknowledge that you just pushed all this effort through and it's done. Do it, okay? I'm there with you, okay? But next week, come together as a group and say, you know what? What did we do really well that we should do in the future for this event? And what did we do that just sucked, that we should really not include in future events or omit from this event going forward? Should we even do this event going forward, right? Do you have that kind of a healthy conversation that's reflective, right? An athlete, as you said, an athlete doesn't just prep for the game, they prep after the game for the next one, right? And you should be thinking in that same vein about how can I improve my next event based on what just transpired. All right, so think about the third type of Gatorade as you're going back to your clubs. Now, we've gone through quite a bit of content. I'm blown away. 25 minutes has already elapsed. So, just to recap, right? We'll go a little bit table by table, okay? Can you guys tell me, what are some of the things that you heard already about the ways that you can engage your members that I just shared?
We need to think about what they want and what they're looking for out of the
Great.
events.
Yep, remember that congruence, that puzzle. In the back, can you give me another thing that we spoke about?
We give it a sense of ownership. So, like you said, when you want something done, just be like, what do you want to do? And then say, okay, you want to do this, fine, get me a game plan.
Exactly. Give them an end, let them dictate the mean, but then hold them accountable to the end. What else? Brian, do you guys remember anything at that table? Other ways to engage your members?
So kind of find a good way to debrief either with the leadership team or the rest of the members and tell them what was great and what didn't work. And by telling them what went well and what was great, you type up more excitement for the next event.
Exactly. What about up front? You guys remember something from the previous 25 minutes? Anything that made a dent on you?
Being as transparent as possible, empowering members.
Good, absolutely. And that transparency, remember we were talking about glass for transparency. Did you guys remember how glass came into play? Another thing we were just talking about? Remember glass? And that guy who was sticking with all those, remember? So what was that talking about? Innovation, exactly. Okay, so we've got a couple big ideas that I want you to just start ruminating on, okay? Now, next part of this activity, I want everybody at a table, you've got a nice thing of Post-it notes from G95. Thank you for those. No, it's good. I asked for. So here's what I want you all to do, okay? Everybody, please take 3 Post-it notes. Each person, 3 Post-it notes. Okay. All right, so everybody, it looks like the Post-it note block is making around. This is like Wharton. This is like Wharton card dealing right now. All right, the 3 Post-it notes. So, Game of Thrones. I've never seen this show on HBO. That's why we're playing the Game of Threes today, not the Game of Thrones. Okay, the Game of Threes. All right, everybody's got those 3 Post-it notes. Here's what I want you to do, and you can do this individually. You can do it with your other colleague from your organization. Okay. But I want you to populate those 3 Post-it notes with the following, okay? 1 Post-it note, 3 events you could improve and how, okay? Like event dash how to improve. Real simple, okay? Your event, yep. That's the first Post-it note. Second Post-it note, 3 clubs that you think you could partner with and how, all right? That you're not currently partnering with. And the third Post-it note right here, 3 club members that you want to start developing, okay? You need to start thinking about people in your organization that you're going to be grooming for the future, all right? So 3 Post-it notes, 3 items on each, all right? Go. come back together. Guys, let's come back together as a group. Guys. So I want to hear about some of these ideas. Please. Who wants to tell me about an event that they think they can improve and how they do it? Remember, it's okay if someone steals your idea, right? We're one team. Yeah.
So we have general body meetings, and one of the things that was implemented only one time last year were town hall meetings at the end of GBM. So it was what, 15, 20 minutes at the end. So we have a GBM coming up, and we decided we're probably not going to do it for the first one because it's kind of mainly to introduce freshmen. But we really want to kind of repeat this town hall meeting and have a forum where people can.
Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. And that comes to this notion of transparency, right? Just come. No secrets here. Come on in, right? And also this notion of your members have something they want to give, and if they can articulate that, you can let them run with it. Awesome. Who wants to tell me about another event? Someone over here. Yeah.
In consulting, we do a couple sort of decentralized events like MBA mentoring and peer practice sessions for consulting case interviews. So I think those are good events, but it's very difficult to orchestrate an event that doesn't have a physical meeting time. So we did those both in the past year, but I think there's a lot of room to improve.
Okay. Any ideas on how you would improve them?
I mean, something we did that we should do better is have a kickoff event and maybe another event to try to have that in-person event, but also just I don't know. It's difficult just emailing people that aren't that involved, that are loosely involved in the club to be doing it. So.
Sure, they just want to be on the listserv to know the dates when they need to drop for Oliver Wyman or something. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood. So, acknowledging that, right? Think about your audience, right? What do they want? If they really just want a calendar, can you have different types of membership, right? Think about it. One more cool event that you guys are thinking about. Anything else? Yeah.
For the entrepreneurship club, we have a lot of events where we bring speakers from New York, generally speaking, who have either done a startup or are investing in startups.
Awesome.
It'd be cool if we could do more trips out to San Francisco, where we see specific companies in the Valley and in San Francisco.
Yeah. Okay. Lee's your man. Lee's your man for that. Yeah, I can't write the check for that one. Okay. 3 clubs you think you could partner with. Right? And oh, by the way, with this option of who you could partner with, as you're hearing people say the clubs that they may think they could partner with, and you're that club, and maybe you have them on your list too, what do you think that means? Okay? Think about it. All right, go.
Yeah, we're with the Hedge Fund Club.
Cool.
We know that Alpha Kappa Psi has a speaker series coming out called the Aspire to Excellence Speaker Series. And so they invite professionals from different industries to come in and talk about how they're aspiring to excellence in their lives. So since we focus on the hedge fund industry, we can invite a speaker and kind of partner with them for expanded marketing efforts.
Why not? Why not? I'm sure there are millions of people in the hedge fund industry who are aspiring to excellence, okay? And probably 10,000 or so who are Wharton alumni. All right, yeah.
I'm from Wharton Guide, which is the MBA mentoring program.
Wharton
Guide.
I'm sorry, I thought you said God. I was like, oh, that's a new club. All right. Wharton Guide.
Basically, it's there MBA mentors. And, we have sort of a counterpart in the MBA school. So if we could pair up, people, students interested maybe in finance from the finance club or the consulting club, with MBAs who are in that industry, because we have a lot of, contacts there. So, we're always looking for more students.
Why not?
Be looking to.
I feel like you said you were doing some kind of a case prep, right? And it would be useful if a person who worked at Oliver Wyman coached me on my case prep for Oliver Wyman, right? Be friends, okay? Facebook, whatever you guys do, all right? And you don't have to tell me about the 3 members that you're thinking about could be in these seats in a couple years, but how do you think and just throw out ideas, how do you think you can start engaging them, right? How can you start to bring them up to speed at your level? What do you think you could do? Yeah.
Bring them here.
Bring them here. It's a great idea. It's totally true. I was saying to Lee before this, I never came to the Undergraduate Leadership Forum. Never went myself. Always somebody else. Yeah?
Give them more responsibility.
Okay, let's talk more about that.
Just, like you said, give them a goal and let them figure it out.
Yep, yep. And then maybe at the end of it, after they've figured it out, you go back to that Gatorade picture and you say, hey, Rebecca, what do you think went well? What do you think didn't go so well? How do you think this can apply to what we do at this leadership level? Right? You can have a little conversation about it, right? One more. What other thing could you do to groom the next future leader of your organization? Or leaders? Anybody over here? Yeah.
Allow them opportunities to lead.
Yep, exactly. Give them the chance. Give them the platform. Something you wanted to add?
This is kind of like after the fact, but once they already have a position or in preparation for that, definitely save all your templates and everything like that so they don't have to reinvent the wheel at all.
Yep.
They can have a seamless transition.
Yep. And there are times when it'll be smart to just use what you've already had, right? And there'll be other times you'll say, does our audience actually care anymore, right? It worked a couple of years ago. Yeah, Facebook was the way that we communicated with our members a couple of years ago, but maybe this year we don't do that anymore, right? So having a critical conversation about it too. All right, so you've got sticky notes now, right? You're like Josh Triangle against the glass, okay? I want you to keep these sticky notes with you, okay? Put them in your little notebook. Put them in your mirror in your house. Remember that these are priorities for you, okay? This is what you guys want to achieve this year. You've got 9 things right now. If you followed these instructions perfectly, you've got 9 things that immediately you can do to have a big-time impact in your organization, all right? So, a couple minutes left. This was supposed to be the report out slide, some pretty logos. Sorry, I forgot about it. Now, I'm sorry. Is your logo up there? Yeah? Pretty cool, right? It's your logo, man. Congrats. All right. So, let's talk about the future a little bit, okay? And the future is grounded in the present. What I'm going to talk about now applies to what you're experiencing at school right now as well, okay? Things to start thinking about from a perspective of a young alumnus, all right? First point, you're looking at this saying, did my grandma make that? This is a quilt, right? For those of you that aren't familiar with this picture, a quilt, all right? And each of this quilt's got all these different pieces that come together. It's a very nicely done quilt, all right? What I want you to think about when you're looking at this picture of a quilt, though, is that these are people, okay? These are people that form almost a quilt of relationships that help you get stuff done, all right? And as you as a leader, as you as someone who's applying for jobs, as you someone who gets a job, you just need to start thinking about your life through the lens of relationships, right? And not networking, and not just, going and passing out business cards, but relationships. And relationships that are reciprocal in nature. There's a give and a take. And there's not a scorekeeping that's happening, right? It's not, you scratch my back this time, I scratch it. You just give all the time, all right? When we're talking about you as a leader, you can imagine this concept's application immediately, right? You're always interacting with other people. You're always striving to think about ways that you can include them and spur contribution, right? You're always thinking about how you can drive additional attendance at your now exceptional events, okay? Start thinking about this quilt, the quilt of relationships. And here's a quote just to kind of add something to it. Real networking, okay, we're not talking about business cards. Real networking is finding ways to make other people more successful. It's about working hard to give more than you get, right? That's foreign for a lot of people, right? Give more than you get, right? Making other people successful. Coming back to this idea of teaming with other clubs, directly applicable, right? It's not just about you, it's about everybody. The entire 2,400 person undergraduate population, all right? Now, looking at this thing, what the heck, a lightning bolt in my hand, this is ridiculous, Andrew's the weatherman. This is the idea, okay, of being a linchpin. Anybody ever heard this word linchpin before? Yeah? Anybody? Seth Godin, a terrific author who I read a lot of, he wrote a book called Linchpin, okay? And I want you, as individuals who are applying to companies, as leaders, how can you start to think about yourself as indispensable? Okay, what is it about your contribution, your involvement, the way that you engage people, the work that you do that makes you indispensable, right? And a company would be very curious to know what it is about you that makes you indispensable, okay? As an example, a Management 100 TA that I know from a couple years ago, she showed up to an interview with a terrific financial services company with a model that she had built that she knew addressed a specific problem that they had, right? Can you imagine Okay? If I'm sitting across from her as the interviewer, and she shows up with this model, right? And I'm saying to myself, you built this thing, and this is an interview? You did homework for the interview? You made something? Oh my God, I have to have you. You have to be hired. I have to have that model, right? Duh. Okay? What is it about you, right? So, and it's not just models, right? It's not just Excel, right? It's excelling at something. What is that something? All right, what is it about you that makes you a linchpin? So here's the quote. The competitive advantage the marketplace demands is someone more human, connected, and mature. Someone with passion and energy, capable of seeing things as they are and negotiating multiple priorities as she makes useful decisions without angst. Flexible in the face of change, resilient in the face of confusion. You play at that level, and I guarantee you will win. Okay? Third idea, just to leave you with before we wrap up here. I want to come back to that picture of me in a hockey outfit, right? Little 10-year-old Andrew, Farmington Hills, Michigan, right? You can see it, okay? Gloves are as big as my face, right? How do you show up? How did I start this presentation? It was with that picture, right? You probably, maybe now you're rekindling it, right? It's in your memory. Can you imagine if you're going to a networking event, okay, or if you're meeting somebody, who do you want to meet? Do you want to, oh no, this is the best part. Oh man, it's gone. For real, it's gone. I'm sad. Okay. Improvise, Linchpin. So, this picture would say Andrew Stern, gas pump attendant. Okay? And this picture would say Andrew Stern, petroleum executive. Who do you want to meet? You want to meet the petroleum executive. That's who you want to meet, right? How do you show up, right? How do people remember you? What's your brand, right? What's the thing that you leave behind after you're gone, right? I'm sorry, it's just 2 black cards. I know it's not as interesting, right? But think about it. Gas pump attendant or petroleum executive? Who do you want to meet, right? Pretty obvious who you want. You want to meet the petroleum executive, right? You want to better understand what made that person get to that level, how they've been successful, right? Different ways of positioning yourself, okay? That's just something to start thinking about, all right? Give yourself some spin, all right? Give yourself a little something that they're going to remember you by, okay? So, we've gone through about 45 minutes of content together, all right? And you've got 9 ideas, easily. On those Post-it notes, you can start acting on them 2 hours from now, okay? I want you to start doing it right now, okay? I want you to take all the energy when you leave this room, okay? After Wolf is complete, I want you to start putting all these thoughts into action, right? Don't just talk about it. Don't just come up with these clubs that you can collaborate. Send the leader an email tonight, right? Don't just come up with the new template for your meeting. Send it out to the entire membership base and say, we're changing the way we're doing our meeting at the end of September. Be ready, right? Do something. Right? Start having the coffee chats with people that you identify as future leaders and start to have those conversations with them about grooming them to be the future. All right? The time is now. All right? So, one final thought. How are you guys going to change the game this year? How are you going to do it? You've got 9 ways. You probably thought of 20 more while we were up here. All right? But thank you for giving me the opportunity to address all of you. And
appreciation for you joining us today.
oh, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. So now it's lunchtime. Lunch is being served in the room right by the table at which you signed in. So if you guys could all get up and just follow the line over there and bring the food back. Just bring the food back.
It would be like
Would you need anybody specific?
I don't know because I just have to record after.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So like, but yeah, like it's just a
I'll
long
give you.
time coming.
I can give you my email.
Okay, cool. Yeah, when you come back, let's do that. But like, I know. Oh no, are you heading out?
I kind of have to.
Oh yeah, I'm having your email there.
Tomorrow, like, I think I need to make an appointment. You know, this is also going to be put effort into it. This is how first services. That's like 12 years.
Perfect.
Let me know.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
But don't waste, like, we
So
won't
we're
waste your
checking the like creative side to see what's happening.
Yeah. Because like he's like the big no. Like no, he's just here and like I'm like,
I know. Like I'm like, what do you think you're doing? Hey, how are you? How are you?
First one back?
Yeah. It's starving, man. My stomach's been like growing.
It was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think next time you guys should have like water, because I know a lot of people are thirsty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. It's a good suggestion. Thank you. Now that I have all the drinks they want.
That's one thing about being close to the exit.
Right?
Perfect.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Start out. As we get started.
Okay.
Doable.
It's always at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
I was living in like those
Everyone's just like,
All the things.
You're gonna live that.
go to the beach lot. What did you do again?
I worked at a private equity startup.
Like it?
I loved it.
Or do you want to do anything else about it?
No, it's too small. It's like really, I was really just working at two guys and stuff.
But I might say I do. And if you got your response.
There's not that much like money for like someone like me. It's more like, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, right.
I do understand why that.
I'm Ken Luke.
Like, oh, I do San Francisco.
Maybe I like that.
Oh, I do consultants.
So board meetings on Monday, so you can do stuff.
Yeah.
Let's have dinner then proceed.
Yeah, let's do that.
You guys for presidents?
Carl. I just know. This would be like. Yeah, we didn't have to. Yeah.
What's on?
It's all right. I think so. It took them slightly better. It's on 40th and it's only
Which I find it. I don't even know if it means we don't have it.
That's great.
Really? Let's sleep. And it goes into fat. And it goes into fat. And Napa was having the theory that guys lose weight very effectively. You don't have time for
You get back home,
what is that saying? This is the bathroom.
Yeah, so I was doing like for
This morning. Yeah, because I was hoping the biggest I haven't met her yet. Like, hey, look at this dad. So he walks to my dad. And then look at this. And then like, everybody else like, all right. And then I walk out.
Third house.